Seller Club Podcast, episode number 81. Drop that beat. Quick and easy on this intro.
I feel like you're just trying to beat your own PR for how fast you can say it.
Well, that other time that I messed up bad, we had to record it like 2-3 times. That one I didn't like. So I'm trying not to repeat that. You know, you learn from your mistakes.
Yes.
So now you're just dropping it ASAP.
Yeah, quick. Yeah, drop that beat.
Like
quick.
a hot potato.
Exactly.
Ken, find the potatoist music you can find.
No, every time Glen, I don't know if he notices, every time he does it, I put like a rock, metal.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed that.
Metal hip hop metal. Something.
I really liked the music you chose for Rebecca's interview last week.
Oh, you liked it?
It was really nice. I think it suited her well.
Yeah. I try to fit the music to the personality. The vibe.
Yeah.
That's why mine's always like Debussy or Mozart or something.
Or funky, something like that. I always say funk.
That's
funk,
true. I
funky.
love funk. I really do.
Yeah.
I do.
Something very
like
smart. Something very smart for Anna.
Or it could be like the I was gonna say the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme song. That was a good one.
Curb.
Dun 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 dun. Oh, it's called Frolic. That's what it's called.
Frolic.
Oh, it's so funny. It's like the best comedy music. I love it.
We know what's not comedy. Sales. So how are sales right
we ain't
now?
Playing about sales.
Mine's. I gotta go first because I kind of know what Anna's answer is. Mine's comedic.
Oh.
What? Why?
It's supposed to not be.
Because it's the color of the nose of a clown. It's red.
With the red.
All returns, no sales.
The charts are red right now.
Yeah, the charts are red. Only because, well, a big part is, the Q5 was on fire, and
Sounds like a summer slowdown to me.
Oh, it's still spring. Come on now. It's more like a spring rebound.
It's June. June is summer.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's not.
And it's hot. Hot is summer.
That's true. Yeah, I would say, we did a lot of like listing and clothing stuff. I think the number of packages is the same, but the value of the products that are selling are not the same.
Because it's so many shorts and stuff.
Yes, think about, $150 jacket compared to a $30 short. So I have to like make up, 5 sales.
Yeah.
And a $30 short, that's like them not trying to penny pinch. And that's where like it's getting me, because people are like $29 short. They offer you 22, and then I give them $1, and I'm like, I'm trying to stand firm. It's like, okay, 10%, you get 10%, but 10% on a $30 purchase is only $3.
I know.
And then they always climb it up to 25, and then I get stumped. I'm like, if I give them $5 off, that's like 20, like that's over 20% off. I'm like, and I'm like, and I tell myself, Ken, here's $2. Take the sale. Like
I'm definitely erring on that side right now too, where it's like it's close enough. A lot of times when I send counter offers, I'm like, okay, like my target for this was actually this amount. If you're not willing to pay $5 more, then maybe you don't want it that bad. But on the other hand, I'm like, but am I willing to eat $5 more? Do I want the sale that bad?
Exactly.
Like, it really depends on the day.
So that is where I'm at. But also, part of our focus for the next, I guess this month will be rebuilding the inventory. Just trying to add more variety. I think a lot of this stuff, like the one-offs have already sold, the ones that are really good deals, and maybe again, like anything else, everything we always talk about, you cannot just ride on that same pricing, that sales strategy. It's been 5 months in the year, or 6 months in the year now, so halfway there. I think it's a good place to start auditing and be like, you really didn't get that much interest, the first half of the year. Adidas, I'm talking to you, Adidas brand. So I have to like mark down.
Yeah, I
those.
just sold some Ultra Boost, so
Oh,
Oh.
that's why I can sell mine, and they bought Anna's.
So would you say it had to do also with like the speed that clothing is selling?
I think so too.
Like it's slowing down just because it's like a general.
Yeah, now, I'm facing a lot more competition, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think so. And also too, like, I think clothing, there's like, unless it's higher end clothing, like a statement piece. If you're buying a short at, sub $30, it don't matter if it's red or blue, really, unless you hate one or the other, or black with purple swoosh or black with red swoosh. You know what I'm saying? Like, the variation is minuscule, and I've noticed it. You know how people like um send offers, right? And then I kind of like sometimes forget to respond or don't accept it, within an hour. Sometimes I accept one, right? And then they said, "Oh, I already found another pair," or like I found a cheaper price. And
Mm.
that just tells me that they've been sending offers, right?
Yeah.
And that dude already took like the $25 offer, and it was gray, and mine was like dark gray. I was like, okay, like,
Okay.
cancel yours, you're late.
I
So that's
sold.
how I'm thinking, because that's I guess for me, that's how I am as a consumer.
Yeah.
If it's like a
A small
basic,
difference.
yeah, it's not like nobody's really like, oh man, I like your dark gray shorts. Like, I've never heard that reference before. Like, I really like that black yoga shorts. Like, there's really no difference besides the swoosh facing upwards instead of sideways. So that's where I'm at. So I'm kind of
Okay.
like, I guess, salty. Maybe I need to go to the beach or something like that.
A little
Maybe.
salty.
I
Yeah.
sold some cleats, or I sold them, and then immediately the person messaged me, and there's
On a
like,
better price.
well, no, there's like an opposite colorway where it's like the highlight color
Oh
on the
yeah, yeah,
ones that I was
yeah.
selling where is the main color,
It's like a flip
like
flop. Yeah,
switched.
yeah, yeah.
And they messaged me and was like, "Can you please cancel this because I like the other ones better?" I'm like, "Then why did you buy these?"
Yeah,
Like,
why you bid
it
on
was
it?
just
I was
like
like,
a
hey,
buy it
try. Yeah.
now.
Oh, that's
Like,
even
oh,
worse.
okay. Yeah, it was just like, I mean, I guess good for them for being honest and not trying to make up some reason, but I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
just like, that's really lame. Like, don't
yeah.
do that.
And now, like, speaking of that, I'm more hesitant accepting multiple offers from the same person, because it's happened multiple times. Like, oh, I like that one and
Yeah.
cancel this one. I'm like, I only accepted both offers because it's combined
Because it's a
shipping.
deal,
It's a
right? It's
deal,
Mm.
right?
bulk.
Like, I wish we could,
Yeah. Like,
but
what is
at
your
that point,
intention with these multiple offers?
yeah, I'm like, are you
See, if
just
we could bundle them, then people wouldn't bundle
mm.
them if they were going to go with one or the other, right?
Okay, okay, okay. Well, and
Okay.
how is your sales?
My sales are doing great actually. And I do feel like
Mm.
this is well, I guess I don't officially know the outcome at the time we're recording this, but by the time this comes out, we will know if May was in fact my strongest month of this year so far. At this
Mm.
moment that we're recording it, we're at the very end of May, and it's like, coming down to it to see, is it really going to surpass the previous one or not? So that will be very interesting. I don't know that I've ever had a May be like the highest month, but
Right, right.
also I feel like, there's some parallels in how we have bulked up our inventory this year, but I feel like I was a lot slower about getting it listed because I'm one person. So I think that could be because of the trickle effect of
Mhm.
me finally getting everything listed. But I will also say that I feel like I'm actually, knock on wood, in a pretty good rhythm of replenishing inventory, both kind of thrifty vintage stuff and retail arb stuff, like in smaller batches. But um, I'm noticing that things in general across the board are selling a little faster. Like my
Mm.
sell through is a little better. So that's really good because I'm pretty much out of space. So I need that to be the case. But it's been pretty good. Also, I have taken a little bit of time away from my store because it was my birthday. I just turned 35. So
Oh.
that's really fun.
Sheesh.
And I will always shout from the rooftops that I love to have like the flexibility in my work that I can take a break when I want. And, you know, part of my reward for being the birthday girl is not having to do as much work. So that was great.
Well, happy belated birthday to you, and tell
Thank
us what
you.
you did.
Well, I didn't do anything yet because it's not yet. It's in between recording this and releasing it.
Okay, what do we want to do?
Okay, well, there is a festival in my town that happens to be on my birthday.
Oh,
I live
having
in like
a festival for your
that's
birthday.
the plan. We are so now we're in a little Back to the Future moment because this is the plan. It hasn't actually happened yet, but by the time this comes out, it will have happened, and I'm sure it will have been really fun. But basically, we're pretending that the festival is the town throwing me a birthday party. It's called Schweizerfest. It's like a German Swiss like thing. Basically,
what is
beer
it
fest.
about? Oh, a beer fest.
It's just like
it's
on the
German
square.
fest.
There's like it's a big festival. There's lots of music and food and whatever, and it's really fun. But it's like a thing that my town does every year, and it just happens to be on my birthday this year. It's not always, but it's called Schweizerfest, so we're calling it Schwanefest. And a select group who choose to participate are going to have like Schwanefest swag, and we're all going to show up on the square and pretend that the whole thing is my birthday party, which is going to be hilarious.
I was going to say,
nice.
I thought you guys were going to wear your face and says Anna Schweitzer Packer.
It's something like that. See, the other tricky thing about explaining this is that I am not privy to all the details because I'm not the one spearheading these plans, but I know enough to not be completely freaked out about it. So I do think it's going to be fun. And also,
it's gotta have to be surprise.
Some of it has to be, right?
Yeah.
But a friend of mine his band is playing the night of the part of the festival that's my birthday. So that's going to be really fun. I always
you
love
guys
to
should
see
add
my friends play.
Bobby's custard at the end, like Shawana Fest.
See, that's not a bad idea. Maybe you should do that for your birthday.
Yeah, Kenny.
I have plans for my birthday. Oh, my parents might be here for my birthday.
Oh, really?
Might be.
Well,
and if
cool.
it is, it's gonna be grand. Only because it's my mom's birthday 2 days before mine.
Oh, nice.
So it's gonna be her birthday.
Yeah.
And I owe her a lot already. Like I owe her like Mother's Day.
I owe her a lot.
Christmas.
You gotta roll it all together.
Yeah.
That's called a bulk deal.
Yeah, bulk buy, yeah. A bundle deal. So, yeah, and yeah, I mean it's like I always celebrate my birthday, so that was cool.
I've been really low key about my own birthday the last few years.
Yeah, because like you're getting up there in the age.
I know, like no, I actually don't care about that. I expect to live to be 100, so I feel like I'm still relatively young. So I'm
real
like
100.
Oh yeah,
that's what you
so
want.
I'm just like I'm like it's fine. Like I got a lot more birthdays.
I said only 100. Glen's trying to shoot for
200. Maybe he'll take a vacation sometime in the next 200 years.
On the 100 mark.
Well, I don't know what AI is gonna look like by then, so who knows?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. But it is fun to be celebrating.
It could be like a floating head or something.
That's true.
Just like attached to a tank of ooze.
Yeah,
like your spinal cord just goes into like.
That's a reference from a movie. Come on,
I'm still
Anna.
like sourcing Ross.
Dune.
I'm still sourcing Ross, just like my head, and then
and then Ross is just gonna be virtual.
What will the hashtags be at that time? The Ross hashtags.
They'll be still the same.
Or an AI version of me is still doing sourcing. None of the finds are real. None of it really happened.
Oh, you're just doing it for the views.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the only way that you would be caught just doing it for the views. If it was
that's true.
All synthetic, virtual, fake version of you.
And then I would just never age. I'll just be the same. I'll be like a cartoon, like Bart Simpson. It's just the same clothing, same age, sourcing every year. So... But back to topic. We haven't even talked about our topic.
I was like,
we're talking
back to what?
We're talking about our sales. So Mr. Consistent.
How's your sales?
Yeah, Mr. Consistent is beat the last 2 months. Right now, I'm up like $1,200 more than the previous 2 months.
Wow!
But we still have 2 more days left, so I think I can get some good
15.
sales in.
Yeah, 15.
Let's try to get 15.
So basically, you're up $50 a day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. So what is that next level? We don't know. Which is kind of funny though, because leading into our main topic, our main event.
This is where Glenn gets to ask the AI co-host and how to get to the next level.
Yeah, exactly. And this is not a really good topic because I first saw this on Reddit, and I read it like a little bit on the title, and I was like, oh no.
Oh no.
It's not. This might be. Hopefully this is not what I'm going through or something. Let's see what. So let's see what Ken and Anna say. So the question is, which you guys can answer this question, before we begin. So when a reseller says they've, in parentheses, hit the ceiling, what does that mean? So that's your question for
what does it mean
before we start? Yeah, what does that mean to you? When a reseller has hit the ceiling.
To me, that means they have reached the maximum output for their maximum input.
So they're pretty much overloaded. They're self-imploding.
Or they're like, it's kind of like they have already tried a bunch of things. They've changed things even, and they can't seem to make more profit. Like they've reached the maximum amount of profit that their activities, such that they are, can bring.
Interesting.
Okay, I like that.
I'll give the contradicting answer.
Well, okay, Kenny.
They've just became old and not pliable and not wanting to change. And this is what I do. This is all I want to do. Stuck in their ways. Don't want to try a different platform. Don't want to try a different category. I only source here because I know the manager. I know the cashier. Like, I'm not trying to buy a new house. So why would I hustle more? The fees are going up. That's why I'm not making more.
That sounds more like they built the ceiling than they hit the ceiling.
Exactly.
But maybe that's
that's what it is. They hit the ceiling that they built. That's what it is. Okay. They hit the ceiling that they built when at first it was high, and all of a sudden, they're on top of their death pile or of inventory and not selling, and they hit their head, and they look down, and I was like, oh crap.
I mean, your example sounds like a lot of. I'm think like
a lot of
excuses got built up to where like it just kind of like shoved them into the top of the build, like the ceiling, to where like they have no other room to breathe because the excuses just got overwhelming.
Yeah, because you have to think resellers, or however you want to call it, we're in a business game, and when you're in a business game, a lot of times, unless you do federal contracting, there's not much of a box that you have to follow. So,
like, you can be pretty creative.
Yeah, you can be pretty creative. Like, right, partner up, borrow capital, hire people, right? Like, travel further, switch category, live sell, right? Like, do whatnot, right? Like, when me and Glenn started, when we met, our stuff were almost identical until we went on Whatnot, and I fell off, and he continued. So,
and I think Anna's I guess explanation really made sense.
Wrong.
But here's what they.
I was oh no, what are you about to say about me?
Here's what they're saying.
I
know, I couldn't figure out the words.
It's her birthday, Glenn. Come on.
It was. That's fine.
So according to them, hitting the ceiling as a reseller means that they've reached their limit of their growth or earning potential within their current business model.
That's
pretty close.
That's pretty close, yeah. I think Anna wrote that one.
I feel like the key there is their current business model, though, and everything Ken is saying is like the people who are usually complaining about this are not willing to change their business model.
Right? Yeah, because you're trying to blame the external factor rather than internal factors if we could change.
Quick temperature check, though. You guys tell me if this is an excuse. Honest to goodness, I was about to try for the second time cross-listing on Poshmark. Was about to do it.
Okay.
And now Poshmark's like on fire. So I'm like, maybe I shouldn't. Is this a sign? Is this a delay? What do you think about that?
I've so this year I've sold like close to 2,500 on Poshmark already, and I've gotten warnings for taking down listings that I sold on Goat and Stock.
Yeah.
So my kind of like strategy now is I'm just gonna try to cancel to remove a listing once a day, and if that still triggers it, so far it hasn't. And if it does,
but it's like listings that are already sold, or like
yeah.
So you're still gambling they might sell on Poshmark.
Yeah.
In
if
the
they
meantime,
sell and you cancel it, there's no harm to you.
Yeah.
So
except for taking off buyers.
Yeah, that's I could care less because that's Poshmark's problem.
Yeah,
and
right.
that's
They
their
structured
main.
it that way.
Yeah, if you structure it that way, that it's Poshmark's problem to get buyers and to please their buyers. Because at the end of the day, if they don't care about us, they have to care about their buyers at least. So I think the complaint of sellers not being heard, you should just slap it back to Poshmark. Okay, I'm not gonna take down listings.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start canceling orders if I sold it on a different platform.
Yep.
So
I mean, that's pretty much the thing you have to do.
Yeah,
from what I understand, based on the
the
changes.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I've been really reluctant to even give a crap about Poshmark.
Mm-hmm.
And like the thing that's hard for me too is like, I know a lot of my friends who have been successful, on there, whether they have an eBay store also, or like maybe even they started on Poshmark and eBay's their second one or whatever. But like, yeah, okay, so say that you sold, just throwing it out there, like $10,000 last year on Poshmark, but if all that stuff was cross-listed, how do you know you wouldn't have sold it on eBay? Like,
100%. Yeah,
you don't know.
No,
no, I don't know. So
I believe
you can't side by side compare the same exact year of sales with it and without it. So that's 100%. One reason I've always hesitated, but like I was seriously like ready to try again, to try it a different way, right? And like now it just seems like it would be a waste of time at the moment. Yeah. But if it gets better, then I will try it again.
Yeah, 100%. Like the only stuff that sells there are like stuff that actually like are cheaper. I sell cheaper on eBay, but a lot of them are just brand new. Like like lady shorts that I picked up for $2-3.
Yeah.
I just sold one today for 25, and after fees I made 20. So those are the kind of like the little nuggets that I can live off of. And kind of like my structure is like, if it can pay for like my car payment to win, like that's kind of how I see it. But I totally believe that unless you're like 100% all women's category, Poshmark is not a it's not a viable like booster of
even in the retail arb world, I have more women's stuff than you do. I think like I weight my stuff more heavily towards women's than you, but I still have a lot of men's stuff and unisex stuff too. But I've also seen I've heard that before, right? Like a lower ASP garden variety stuff, new with tags stuff, right? But I've also seen, I follow a few people on Instagram that I love to follow who sell only like luxury, and they do pretty well.
Yeah.
They do great sales on there too, but it's kind of like in between that. I don't know. I don't know if a lot sells in between that. So anyway, sorry, I totally digressed into that, but that is of the moment. Hopefully for everyone's sake, by the time this episode airs in June, Poshmark will have gotten something sorted out. But as of when we're recording this at the end of May, it is definitely not sorted out. People are livid.
I guess here's a question. Why would we as resellers need to have that possibility of cross-listing to another site? What would you say, like, why would we need to do that?
Well, in theory, I clearly don't care that much about it because I don't do it. But I'm curious about it, and I keep coming back to it and wanting to try it again because I do think it's a form of diversification.
Yeah.
I think that people sometimes overestimate the amount of value of that form of diversification just based on the size of the buyer base on these different platforms alone. It's like, is it really worth it? Is it if it was easier, to sell it on eBay by running a 10% off sale than it is to have to deal with a whole other platform and maybe sell it or maybe not. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I understand that if you're trying to kind of protect your business with a lot of different layers of diversification, like that makes sense to me on paper. But I don't know. So far, the efforts I've actually made in real life to cross list have yielded me almost nothing in return for my time and effort. So I just don't see it as that helpful for me. Like, I'm diversified in other ways, and that's good enough for me.
I think that cross listing is a preview of what a bigger operation could be. Because I believe is if, for example, in Anna's situation, one person operation, right, compared to my operation, I think the only way we're able to do that because there's two of us. So I think that could count in as a, okay, if I have a bulk opportunity to buy women's dresses, luxury, high end stuff, and looking at comps, it sells way better on Poshmark or the other, Vestair or something like that. There's other, like, there are other ladies oriented platform, and let's just say like 80-90% off, right? Like, and a lot of people would easily say like, oh, I can just buy it and wholesale it, right? But we know the profit is not as much.
Yeah.
But if you actually retail it out or resell it yourself, the profit is so much more. So it's kind of like a preview of say, okay, these are the stuff that are selling on Posh based on my current inventory. So that side of inventory, quote unquote, doesn't really need to get listed on Posh. But if there's an opportunity to buy that, then I could be like, okay, this would yield, let's say, $50,000 this year. I can pay somebody $20,000 to manage Poshmark part time, and quote unquote do some shipping for me at the same time. So that's how I see it. It's just a test. I don't think it is in our current situation, it is a way for us to really go hard and diversify, because again, that's just gonna put strain on on our main operation. Then I don't want to be like overworked too much on diversification and forget the one main thing. That's why I've always been like against diversification in the beginning, and Glen's heard me say this all the time. Like, if you cannot master eBay, don't even try to do other platforms because that just gives you you just literally lower the ceiling on yourself on the next platform.
Right. Well, I mean, you're spreading yourself thin. And I mean, I didn't even, in my 6-month experiment of cross listing, I did Poshmark, Mercari, and Depop.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think I mastered any of those, but obviously using like a cross lister helps a lot. But there were things about each of those platforms that I was like, dang, if I was just starting from scratch, I think I would look into this if I only looked at this one platform and be like, never mind. Like, for example, even Depop, like, at least back then, it took over 2 weeks to get paid for an item. Yeah. And I was just like, no, like, maybe I'm just spoiled because I started
What
on
is
eBay.
This, Amazon?
Yeah, it's like forever, like, so anyway, there's things like that I'm
and
just
there are
like
certain
that
platforms
does not encourage me to do it.
There's certain platforms that are built for, like, I believe Posh was built for like kind of like a part-time / social, literally clearing your closet, right?
That's kind of the language
that's
of
kind
it
of like
model,
how it's modeled. But when you jump to eBay, yes, the noisy part of eBay is actually the resellers that are doing a lot of thrift, a lot of retail arb. But if you think about it, the main pie that they get GMV from are enterprise sellers that are just, I've seen somebody do like warehouses. I've seen a chart, Glenn, like they see charts and I was like, oh, that kind of look like mine. And you go to the very left and like each line is $50,000.
You're like,
You know, I was
That's not me.
like, whoa, you know, like even if they made 10% profit on that, still $5,000 a day, you know. So I think that's kind of like how I see the difference. So yeah,
it's interesting though. Like there's this trade off, obviously, of like spreading yourself too thin. But I do think that there is a difference. Talking about diversifying, there's a difference, maybe a bigger difference between, you know, listing your stuff, a static listing on eBay and Poshmark versus a static listing on eBay or live selling, or a static listing on eBay and a brick and mortar with foot traffic, you know, like those almost feel even more like diversification than just like multiple static listing platforms. So, but Glenn, I'm gonna ask you a question about ceilings. Okay. I know you didn't expect that, did you?
I know I didn't.
You're like, how could she?
How dare you?
That's what 35-year-olds are like. You just ask
true.
the hard question. No, just kidding. No, but in terms of ceilings, obviously there was a time prehistory where you didn't do live selling. And then there's been a time in recent history and presently where you are like really consistent at it. I would totally say you've mastered it. And I wonder if that had anything to do with feeling like you were hitting a ceiling yourself, or what were your motivations for adding live selling in at the time that you decided to try it, and then obviously further decisions to like stick with it and master it.
I think with me is like I've always like tried to do like two things at the same time, whether I'm doing like YouTube and eBay, or I'm doing merch by Amazon, you know, designing shirts and eBay, and so I think it's very tough for me to like really just do one thing. And I don't know, like,
is that because you're bored or because it feels like not diversified enough? Like it's one pillar that could fall by itself, you know, or both.
I think
or something else.
Yeah, I think it's a combo of that, actually. I feel like I do get kind of like, I feel like things are kind of stagnant. Like I don't even really do it for that long. Like I could just focus on eBay and I feel like I should be doing more. And then at the same time, I could be doing, like whatnot with eBay. And then I'm like, okay, so this is going all in. Now I'm kind of not really like stuck, but I'm like, what do I do now to do more, or should I be doing more or not, even though I'm kind of maxed out in a way.
Even though you're doing the most.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like in a weird, I don't know. Maybe I just haven't really rested from even the YouTube and eBay combo.
Yeah. Well, doing the like two things, I mean, that resonates a lot with me but I feel like for me, the two things are like eBay plus something else that's usually more project based.
Yeah.
So that one changes a lot and rotates.
Yeah. Or maybe I also feel like I need a backup plan.
Yeah.
In case something does go haywire that I have no control over. You know, you can get kicked off of any platform at any time. I mean, we would think that there would be a certain reason why you would, you know, for doing something wrong. But in reality, I mean, I don't know what that would really look like. Everyone's situation is different, I guess, when something like that happens.
For sure. And I mean, the fact is, your sense of control goes out the window if that happens for a good reason or a valid reason or not. And then even if it's a mistake or something, it's like there's a whole process to like getting it back. Like that would be scary, you know, regardless of if it even stayed like that.
Yeah.
I like scary.
I like scary. Well, our main topic with the ceiling, though, there's actually 6 signs you have hit the ceiling as a reseller.
Bump on the head.
Oh, man.
Blurred vision.
So, right. You don't know where you are. Yeah.
Just kidding.
So these 6 signs.
We're going to debunk this. So
you're going to let me know if...
Ken's like firing it up right now.
Like maybe Ken and Anna and maybe myself, what if we fall in these lines? Like what if we're 4 out
like,
of 6?
Oh crap, I identify. Let's do it. Why not? We got nothing to hide.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got nothing to hide.
So what are we gonna do? Like say yay or nay, or like me or not me?
Well, I'm gonna tell you what it is, and then you can give me a little bit of feedback, and then you'll tell me how you feel in the situation, if maybe you're caught in that or not.
Yeah. I like that.
Yes or no, or how you feel about it. So The first one is limited supplier margins. You're getting the best possible price from your, let's say, suppliers or sourcing or wherever, and there's just no more room to increase profit margins.
Nah.
So Kenny says no. Anna says no.
Yeah, I say no.
I say no too, because I feel like there's, wherever you're sourcing from, even if you do meet new suppliers, if a supplier really wants your business, they're going to undercut the other person you're getting it from if they know you're willing to spend big bucks. I mean,
Right.
Yeah. That's the idea earlier of you're just stuck in your ways. You know what I'm saying?
Also, like, we've talked about this for sure before on the podcast, but like, there are a lot more things that go into your profit margin equation than just your buy cost. So it's like, even if you couldn't get a better deal from your supplier, there could be still other things you could do to increase your profit margin. Like, you're probably not maxed out on literally every aspect of your profit margin.
And based on experience, the more you spend, the better the margins are. Because the more control buying power you have. So unless you're not buying more and more over time, then if you've lost the profit margin that you thought you had, Glenn already went to your supplier and said, I'll pay you cheaper and I'll buy way more than the next big buyer here in your house. That's what happened. That's what happens. Yeah. It's just the dog eat dog world of reality of business.
And sometimes there's people that are like, "Oh, you're selling that for 20? Well, I'll pay 22." I'll beat the other people that want to, and I'll eliminate them. I'll pay a little bit more. Yeah, but that means I'm gonna get the inventory,
everything. Right. Yeah, sole supplier. Yeah. 100%.
So, what about you, Glenn?
I say no too. I think that there's right now the supply is a little all over the place, but I feel like there's a way to get even better deals.
There's a way to get more.
So this is really good news for us guys, because all of us are at worst just hovering right below the ceiling. we already haven't hit it.
We haven't hit it.
But let's see how close to the ground we are.
Okay.
We're not trying.
Yeah, next one, saturated market in your field. So the market you're in is overcrowded and highly competitive, making it hard for you to grow without lowering prices or spending a lot on marketing and resources.
Nah, you're buying trash products.
Market saturation right now.
Yeah, market saturation is the other way of you've joined the game of race to the bottom. And that's never a good game to join.
Yeah.
I'm kind of torn in between. Let me tell you why. I feel like I'm not saturated on the whatnot side because there's other hat sellers, but actually none of them start them at $1 like I do. But also none of them have over 200 people at once.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I'm
humble brag.
Well, I don't feel like I'm saturated, I guess, in that field. But on the eBay side, I kind of do feel like I'm saturated because I do have, I don't know, items that are not really, I mean, they are lower cost when you really think about it, between hats, comparing that to shoes. I mean.
Yeah, but also the lower cost creates more competition. The lower entry products have more competition, and when you brought up live selling, they're buying it because of the brand of the seller, not because of the product,
and also maybe the entertainment factor.
100%, right? Like they like your demeanor, they like the way you sell, and you don't yell at them and say like bid it up, man, I'm losing money on this. Like whether you're losing money or not, you give them the same response. Oh, great deal, great price, man, that's a steal, and happy for you, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Like that, the live sellers don't get it, that yell. If they get to that level, the amount of loyalty goes deeper than just the product. So I think that's where the big difference is. And again, I think if you have a positive outlook and a positive demeanor, live selling. And that's why I think Glenn made a comment. It was built for me, but at the same time, it's not always me. Because sometimes I just get annoyed, straight annoyed, and you'll see it in my face, and I can't risk it yet. Maybe when I grow older.
All right, so you guys said no on that one, right?
Yeah, I feel like my general miscellany kind of protects me from that one.
Okay.
It's not.
That's true.
There isn't
you're so
one. If I'm really saturated in one area, I barely notice because I'm in a lot of areas.
Which kind of leads to Anna's the next one where you're probably going to be at no then, because it's like lack of diversification. You're selling the same products as everyone else, and it's hard to stand out or charge premium prices.
This sounds boring. This sounds like someone running a boring business.
So selling the same products as everyone else is also very common, let's say in the reseller. I can say probably in like the ARB side of it though.
Retail, yeah. 100%.
More than like the thrifting garage sale. You could find some random,
and there's
hidden
less
gems that.
Yeah, there's more variety for sure.
Yeah. On that side of thing.
Yeah, I think that is a very good statement. And also like I think it's a buying failure, right? Because at the end of the day, you could have bought 1,000 pairs of the same thing, or you could have said, I'll take 100 here, 100 here, 100 there. Like you've put yourself. And again, when you're dealing with deeper quantity, and if you don't account for sell-through, you're crazy. Because let's just say like you can look at how many it sells in a day. Let's say if it sells one in a day and you're buying 1,000 of those things, that's 1,000 days. If you don't account those, you're a terrible buyer, and you deserve to be crushed because people are gonna go race down the bottom. I mean, Glenn has experienced this with Amazon, right? Like whoever gets the buy box, and if that dude lowers his price to your buy cost, you're gonna be stuck for that for a long time until he sells out, and then you're next.
Yeah.
So
I think the crazy thing is like brand recognition when you are selling very similar products as everyone else. Like Ken always has brought out, like even when we were first reselling, like Gucci can sell the same products as everyone else, but the Gucci name and quality is going to be different to where they can still make their money compared to everyone else that makes the same item with a different name on it.
Yeah. Well, and it's not just even like trusting the brand for quality. It's like at that point, having their name associated with you is like giving you extra value or credit or whatever. Yeah. So it's like that alone just has so much more value.
Yeah. The next one, resource constraints. You don't have enough time, money, staff, or infrastructure to scale further without a major investment.
Anna, you'd respond.
Am I there? I think I am. On one hand, I would say like maybe there or like have been close to there, but on the other hand, I'm willing to actually put in a major investment. So, so it's a pit stop, if anything, I guess. But
I feel like we could all be doing some sort of investment to like further the business if we want to.
We
in a
could, and that's
way.
the question though. It's like, do you want to? Like, I feel like I'm getting to the point where I do sort of have like I find myself more or less like dreaming about having like a bigger operation again. I mean, and I scaled my store down somewhat, in the last few years, but like, so I've, being in that mode, it's like I'm kind of switching back to growth again. So I'm like, okay, this sounds exciting again to think, what if I had a big enough business that I could like sustain employees again, or we have a warehouse space or whatever, like that sounds somewhat appealing to me. But and I recognize that if I were going to do that, like, I couldn't just magically do that with what I've got right now. I would have to make some big changes, and that would require some investment.
Yeah. I think it's risk tolerance. I think what got you here as far as risk tolerance is not gonna what's gonna get you to the next level. So I mean, I think this is kind of like how I scaled to where I'm at today. It's just, to some people it's risky, but if it's done in calculation and you're willing to sacrifice in a short term, like, I'm not gonna lie, I've taken really high interest rate on capitalization to dump into my business, and I didn't freak out about it. I know it was gonna pan out. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna break even, but I got to practice at a certain level, and so
tolerating more.
yeah, right, because like worst case scenario, after everything is said, if you pay a high interest rate and you go back to the books, I was like, wait, I only made 10%. Cool, but you did move way more product this time, and you've told yourself and showed yourself that I didn't break the system yet, or I can hold more inventory. Like, I think the exercise of that and the experience of doing that is super valuable, way beyond the money side. So I think I'm not there yet because, to be honest, I'm not willing to.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on a really comfy couch right now.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we also have free will and free choice of like when enough is kind of enough, and we're not all obligated to just keep on growing and scale up and scale up and scale up. Like, if you like where you're at, then is that a ceiling, or is it kind of like your chosen kingdom? Like that's the domain that you want.
You're fine with this house. You don't want to get a bigger house. Like, you're fine with the things that you have, because I think
I'm
that
like
is
1 foot
interesting.
in.
Huh? You're
I'm like 1 foot in. Yeah, because I feel like I'm gonna max the storage unit like the way Ken maxed the apartment.
Yeah.
And when it gets to that point, then
you're just trying to like buy 5 when you sell 5. You can't buy 10 more because that's like sourcing with a minivan full. What I'm saying? Like, there were times that the pairs really sat on JC's lap, and it's like 2 more hours will be fine. and she wanted to buy some like bulky items. I'm like, no, and it's like, we can't fit it.
That's when you gotta get the rack carrier, right?
Yeah, I know,
for the top.
Because and also like this is that point that you just have to commit and rent a trailer and rent another minivan. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, like hop off, get a minivan, we'll fill the minivan out. But again, that's really that, like Glenn said, are you really gonna cross that line? Which is so many factors.
Yeah.
I know for a fact if I cross that line, my health
there will be
sacrificed again.
Yeah.
Again, right? You're just mental health gets sacrificed again. Quality time with family gets sacrificed again. And how many, maybe we can take one every 5 years, but can you take one every other year?
Well, that's something I really appreciate about having a business that has both expanded and contracted at this point over the course of its lifetime so far, is like, I feel like way more informed about if I'm going to start growing again, knowing upfront what it's going to cost me. Not that it will even be identical to the last time, but like, I love what you're saying about that. It's like, okay, I know it's going to cost me some of my physical and mental health. Am I willing to pay that? That's a way more informed choice than just like being really excited and doing whatever it takes, which is great, but like isn't the only way, right?
So Glenn, are you willing to cross the line? And
I think, I mean, I definitely want to, have a different storage and get to that point.
A bigger.
I just have to figure out how I would want to do that though, because I don't want to, I guess, pay for something I'm not really gonna own. As far as like having I might as well have a storefront if I'm paying super high rent or something like that. Like the storage unit is fine for now, but yeah, I don't know. It would have to. There's some little factors.
Sounds like you need play. Like get a house that has a land and build a kind of like a warehouse, like
Yeah.
a man shed that's like 40 foot by 60 foot.
Yeah.
and
Oh,
you'll be
man.
That's
set.
called a barn, Ken.
Right.
Warehouse
Yeah.
barn.
Yeah, a warehouse barn. I mean, I think that is the ultimate goal of where I want to be.
Yeah.
And I've said this to JC one day, and she looked at me like I was crazy. We were driving, and I said, "You know what, babe? I want to sell in a different category." I said, and she's like,
She's like, we've been on the road too long, Ken.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's like,
Boy's
I'm like-
delusional.
I
She's like,
know.
you know, and then all her answers like, what are we gonna do with this? What are we gonna do with that? Like, I'm like, I'm not like saying like forget all of that.
Just
I'm
tell her
like,
you want to sell postcards.
Yeah,
They'll just all fit in like a bookshelf.
I really want to sell on eBay Motors and do
You will
what
need
I
a barn for that.
do what I did here, and build like an Instagram account for that, and then get invited to F1. I think that's what I think selfishly, that's the only reason why I want to do it.
You just need to go job shadow our dear friend Alec Larson.
Yeah.
See how he runs all his stuff. He's amazing.
Or I'm just gonna be like, hey, I'm just gonna run a franchise of your business strategy here.
Seriously, from
no,
the Midwest.
We've literally had the conversation.
Have you talked about it?
Yeah, we've talked about it.
That.
He already has. We've talked about his system and software that he has now more than ever. It's way easier.
Wow.
Yeah. So Glenn, I just have to cross. But I'm like,
all right.
I'm gonna get fat again.
So we're like
dollar cheeseburger again.
I feel like this is the closest we've all been to the ceiling as far as on this like this question. We're all the
100%.
most like kinda.
Yeah.
Not entirely, but kinda.
Yeah, we'll see how our listeners feel about this.
What was that, like 4?
Yeah, there's 2 left.
Okay.
Platform limits. Selling on eBay, let's say their rules, fees, or competition may restrict further growth.
Nope.
No.
Yeah,
Matter of
eBay
fact-
wants you to list 4 million.
Yeah. Let me go look at what my limit is right now.
Yeah, my limit is ridiculous. These
My limit
million.
is-
Yeah, didn't they like raise it to 20 million one day
Yeah.
or something like that? Everybody got the whole limit. I don't even know where
Let's
to find
see.
it now.
Currently, I have my premium store subscription, 10,000 fixed price listings, plus additional fixed price free insertion listings in a couple of select categories, and there are 50,000 of those. So I'm up to 60,000 listings plus 500 auction listings. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to be maxing that out anytime soon.
The monthly limit they gave me is I can sell 49.6 million more.
Wow, they put way more limits on
with
me. Shoot.
10 million more items.
Is that like because of category promotions?
I don't know. It has to be like
Because
that,
what
yeah.
store subscription do you have?
No, it's not based on store subscription. You're still gonna have to pay, but you know how you hit.
I
your
was
limit.
talking about the ones included.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
okay. You're looking
so-
at a different thing.
Yeah, because like
Got it.
like store subscription can be upgraded, right? Like
Yes.
that's not
Like an
quantity.
enterprise store.
Yeah, you can
is
still wait.
like
Yeah, so,
$1 million or something.
Because when you're starting, they block you, each step of the way to kind of like gain your trust. It's actually on your seller hub,
Yeah.
in your very bottom on your monthly limits.
I think the only
everybody should
time-
be there.
The only time I encountered that that I can even recall is on Poshmark when I tried to cross list there. And I was like, yet another reason to not love this.
So we had one left, which is maxed out sales volume. You've sold as much as you can in a given in your resources, inventory, or time. Increasing volume further would require major changes.
Like you're shipping 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
You have no
Yeah, your
time to list
resources.
anything new.
Yeah, inventory, time. It's probably
Yeah.
like another one where I'm like 1 foot in. I mean, I could do more as far as like probably hiring and training someone to do something else, for example.
Yeah.
But I feel like if stuff was selling Well, that's a funny thing though, is like stuff can sell even faster if I wanted it to on whatnot.
You might just have to take lesser margins
Yeah.
overall.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It would go for even less and less. Like if I started off at 8 a.m. and I'm going till 5 p.m.
Oh, there's like accounts that do that, but at the same time, it's like, dude, like those shorts that they're selling for $5, I'm selling for 25.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but they're just going for the volume.
Just all volume.
Again, that's like, Glenn, like you said, that's like, are you willing to get there? Because you can get there. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like just the power of live selling, you can sell anything. Like if my buy cost for everything was $1, I'd be live selling all day. So if you're a supplier that can provide me $1 items, brand new, with tags, preferably Nike. I'll even take Adidas.
Preferably
Get
Nike.
with me. I'll give you 10% on all profit.
10 cents on the dollar, baby.
Yeah.
Well, and again, it's like
daily. That's daily. That's way better than any stock market.
This goes,
and I'll get fat for that.
Great. We can watch your progression on your live shows.
Yeah.
No, but I was gonna say this again goes back to, are you willing to actually change your whole business model?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like that's the context of all of these, is like within your current business model. And technically, Glenn, you're the only one of us right now at the moment who has live selling in your current business model. But even to fully shift into that would change your business model. Mm-hmm. But I feel like the only hard and fast limits in that regard are like your time and literally your inventory. Like, can you imagine that you're just selling every single item you have listed and now you have nothing listed because you sold it all?
I don't think that's a possibility. With the power of Whatnot getting paid the same day, you can go and buy same thing. And
right. It's like that's a choice at that point, right? Like, you could have more stuff listed. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the biggest decision for that kind of like shift is if you want more people. I mean, we've seen it over and over again. The people that have scaled it bigger, that have streamed more hours, are the people that were willing to hire more people, and that's it. And you've
what are they usually doing? Shipping.
Yeah, literally, like right, like there's accounts that as soon as you sell it, there's somebody that ships it right there.
Yeah,
you know,
already getting it ready.
Yeah, and that's why they don't bundle shipping, because they get it out the same time after it sells.
Exactly.
So we should do. You know what? The one way that we all get to solve this is we all go operate and consolidate our business into a ginormous business. And we know, and that is my biggest hesitation. The only reason why I'm not wanting to get it bigger, because I know somebody's gonna care way less. That's why I feel like the people that have done it way better are the people that have partnered with people and have like equity in the company, because they're not gonna drop the ball. You know, like I think
they
that's
have skin in the game.
Yeah, you have to. And then maybe you'll, like I'll still be the shipping department guy and still hire 5 people, but I'm gonna be on top of that. Like, but you cannot just like hire 10 people and then just pay somebody, minimum hourly and expect that it's gonna be done to at least close to your standard. Yeah. That's the hard part. And I think kind of like Glenn knows, because he's, been involved into working with people that are not pulling their weight, and he has to do it,
Not naming any names, but
so I don't know if we have a topic for next episode, but there is things to do next if you did hit the ceiling. Like, what are your next steps?
I don't want to hear that. I won't be here. I won't be here for that. I'll be working out.
So that was it for this episode, though, on the 6 signs that you've hit the ceiling as a researcher.
This was good. I think it boils down, I think our general consensus is we're not sure that we're willing to put the sacrifice and what it takes to get there, because we've made some sacrifices, and we know the next level of sacrifice will be possibly not greater, but a different kind of sacrifice than what we did.
It doesn't have to be a financial,
right? No, not at all. Like, and that's I guess the older we get, the more chicken we become. Oh no!
The more chicken we become.
No.
I don't know about that.
No.
Well,
that might be a topic.
I do think
we might have to switch the topic to that one, Glenn.
This is it's a good like reality check though, I think, for anybody listening too, because running a business can feel like a grind, but like for me, hearing a lot of these things, I was like, oh wow, like no, I'm not anywhere near that. And that's kind of a relief, right? It goes back to kind of your subjective feelings about how your business is doing, or your ability to grow are not always like the best gauge of your actual ability to grow, right? Like this is a good reminder. And it's also a good wake-up call if you are checking all of those boxes, but you're toiling away and expecting to get a better result from your business, and yet all these things are true for you, then maybe you need to like realize that, what you're expecting might not be realistic, and you might need to raise that ceiling very intentionally with some kind of a change or some kind of an investment in your business.
Exactly. So that was a great episode. Nice little topic right there. Anything else before we go?
No, we just want to give a shout out to our sponsors. Make sure you guys follow eBay for Sellers. There's so many good things that's coming up. eBay Open is coming right up. Registration is open. Links are going to be in our bio and show notes. Make sure you follow them on Instagram at eBay for Sellers. And also get your bookkeeping right, plain and simple. Make sure you follow at Sell Ledger. Try their software for a month for free, no credit card required. And we will see you in the next episode. Peace.
See ya.
Bye.